Hello and welcome to the Connected Community Podcast. Today, my guest is Elysha Lenkin, who is a personal stylist that has over 25 years in the fashion industry, and she has graced the pages of InStyle, the New York Times, and People magazine. Today, we talk about how we can use fashion to brighten our spirit, elevate our mood, and elevate our confidence. We want to feel good about what we're wearing, and clothing can have a profound impact on our mood and how we feel when we present ourselves into the world. So I really think that sometimes we put on an outfit that's pretty blah and pretty boring and really baggy. It makes us feel that way. And then when we put on a bright and vibrant color and we know we look good and we feel good, then we present ourselves differently in the world. Elysha shares how we can do this on a limited budget and how we can actually go into our existing closet, go shopping again with fresh eyes, pick out those pieces that make us feel amazing and bright and confident, and maybe wear them in a different way. So this podcast has definitely inspired me to go through my closet, which is vastly black and a little bit boring, to throw in some splashes of color, to go in and find the pieces that inspired me, that make me feel great, that build my confidence when I wear them, and that elevate my mood. So I really hope that you'll enjoy this podcast. I wanted to do something fun and bright, and we did just that today. If you're enjoying them, take a moment to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. And I want to thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Connected Community Podcast, a place to explore possibility through mindfulness, movement, and self-discovery. Our intention is to deliver insight and inspiration while fostering conversations that are genuine, unfiltered, and deeply human. We hope you will enjoy today's episode. Good morning, Elysha. Welcome to the Connected Community Podcast.
Good morning, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I am too. And what I'm most excited about is I think my topics lately have been kind of heavy and deep, and I'm really excited to have something that's lighter and brighter that we can share about today.
I love that you're saying that because my approach to style, it can get a little heavy when you start talking about women and their relationship to their bodies, right? That's a very intimate, personal subject. But my approach is let's make it more fun. Let's make it lighter. Let's use our clothes to elevate us. So I really do like to be more on the lighter side of things with this, but still, it can have a profound impact on how we show up.
Yeah. So you've been part of the fashion industry for the last 25 years. And what we're going to explore today is kind of how we can change what we're wearing and how we present ourselves to the world to kind of brighten our spirits a little bit.
Yeah. I live in New York City and I got my start way back before anybody even knew what the job stylist was, right? Like now we hear stylist anytime we walk into a retail store or obviously on TikTok and Instagram, right? Influencers are calling themselves stylists. But when I started, nobody knew what it was. This was way back in the 90s. And I remember everyone would say, what exactly do you do? And I would say, when you see people on TV and commercials or the people in the magazines and they're wearing clothes, my job is to get those clothes. So I always have to explain to people it's a real behind the scenes position, or it used to be.
Yeah. I also love that when we dive a little bit further into this today, that we can dive into this topic without spending a ton of money. So you and I had talked earlier about how we can shop in our closet. And I had mentioned to you, like, a lot of my closet is black. I have noticed, like, when I wear something brighter or I wear something that I feel really good in, then I walk around a little bit more confident. I feel better. And I remember specifically during COVID, there was a time where I was waking up and like my whole schedule had been wiped clean and there was nothing on my calendar and I had nowhere to go. And it didn't feel good. I did it for a couple of days, maybe a week. I started getting depressed where I was just wearing sweatpants and like a floppy t-shirt. And so every morning during COVID, so that I didn't go into that depression, I'd wake up, I'd fix my hair, I'd get dressed, just because it made me feel better than sitting around in sweatpants all day long.
Yeah, I completely hear that. And yes, I definitely take pride in getting dressed and really expressing myself through my clothes. But sometimes when I'm exhausted, if I've been go for a long time, really showing up, being visible, then there will be a day or two after where I want to just get in the sweats and really kind of decompress, right? Bring my energy back in and not show up and feel really comfortable in my clothes. But what I've noticed is that I could do that for one day, maybe 2 days, but then by the time I start to get to the third day, it's like I start to sink deeper. It's like when you sit into a deep couch and it's all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you find yourself sinking in, and then to get out, it feels really hard. That's what I notice happens
Yeah.
when I start to live in those sweats for too long. It really starts to strip my energy away, as opposed to we can use our clothes to give us energy, right? So I
Yeah.
do think that it's possible to feel comfortable in your clothes and allow yourself to decompress, but then eventually get back on there, right? Get back in it and start using your clothes to give you energy and to brighten your day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like now there's so many people working from home that it is easy to fall into that trap where you just kind of wear your sweatpants and your t-shirt. And I definitely noticed, like, I intentionally woke up every morning and thought, I have to put on my makeup. I have to fix my hair. Like, I need to do that. Otherwise I'm just going to slide into this depression. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you were doing this. And I don't know if everyone realizes the power that the daily act of putting yourself together, right? Getting
Hmm.
dressed, putting on your makeup, that is such a beautiful opportunity that we have every single day. It is a choice that we can make to choose you, to nourish you, to connect to your creative expression, to really allow yourself to nurture who you are, and to take that time to do that really is an act of self-care. There is a choice that you can choose you, and you can put that energy into yourself. And this really does impact how we show up, because when we spend that time nurturing ourselves, we
Hmm.
show up differently, and then people feel that energy. They respond to us differently, right? So it becomes this beautiful cycle.
Yeah. Let's talk about colors. I know many, many, many years ago, like 30 years ago or something, I had my color profile done, and clear, and that really helped me knowing my colors, and also knowing that there are certain colors that absolutely make me look like I'm dying or I'm sick, like yellow and orange and beige and brown and things like that. And then there's those other colors I put them on and they just brighten my face. They make me look a lot like healthier, and I have color in my cheeks. So how do people figure out what colors are right for them?
So here's the deal with color. I have a two-prong approach, right? There's the colors that make you look more vibrant, right? Because these are the ones that harmonize with your natural features, your skin, hair, and eyes. And then there are the colors that make you feel more vibrant. And these are the colors that when you put them on, you perk up. What I see is that most people, when they get to a certain age, they start to have a sense of what those colors are just from their lived experience, and also through feedback from other people. You will notice that
Hmm.
certain times when you wear certain colors, people really notice you. You really pop, right? Your energy is brighter, and it's because of a certain color. But one way to really determine what are your colors is to look at your eyes, and to look really closely at your eyes. What are all the colors that are in your eyes? Because if you say on your driver's license, my eyes are brown, the truth is there's probably flecks of other colors in there. And that is a
Hmm.
clue as to what are your most harmonious colors with your natural features, to bring out your natural features.
I've never heard that before. That's super interesting. Yeah. But I feel like you need to be a little bit of intuitive. Like my eyes are brown, but I look horrible in brown.
Right. So look really closely. What are the other colors? Do you see any
Hmm.
gray in there? So, for example, my eyes are brown, but I've got some flecks of green. I've got some flecks of orange in there. So just get one of
Yeah.
those magnifying mirrors and look really closely and see what are some of those other colors, and
Yeah.
start experimenting and playing, right? This is all
Yeah.
about experimentation. This is really just an exploration of self, is really how I help my clients. And so it's
Yeah.
about, let's experiment. Let's see, when I try this gray that's in my eyes, how does that make me feel? For example, for me, if I wear gray, that is going to suck out the life from me,
Hmm.
right? But when I put on an ivory, or maybe an orange or a coral or something like that, it's going to give me life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about gold and silver? Because I know when I did mine, I look better in silver, but I've been wearing gold lately. Like, is it that important with jewelry?
So, if we're going to go back to the old school colors done, like they would say that you should wear silver is
Yeah.
what they would tell you. But
Yeah.
I believe we should mix it up, right? First of all, well, just FYI, I've been in a lot shopping lately in the stores in New York City. I am noticing a lot of silver lately. So silver is definitely having a moment right now. It was very gold for a while, but
Yeah.
now in some of the cooler stores on the Lower East Side, there are a lot of them are showing silver. But I believe we should mix it up. And again, it's what energizes me, what feels good on me. This is what you should be wearing. And you don't have to just go all gold, all silver. You can mix them up even in one look. There are no
Yeah.
rules here.
Yeah. So let's talk about accessories too, because I think that's something I struggle with too. Like my accessories are pretty plain. I do wear jewelry. I wear rings, bracelets, necklaces, things like that, but they're pretty simple. And they definitely are not things that like draw attention to me. So can you talk about accessories, like specifically jewelry, at least for right now?
Yeah, I want to ask about the drawing things that don't draw attention to me. Is that intentional that you don't want to draw
Hmm.
attention? Or that, I mean, because that's really part of it, because your
Yeah.
accessories can become a bold statement, or you can use them more as a supporting statement, right? So I love
Yeah.
accessories. They are a beautiful way to, they're conversation starters. If I notice a woman with her hot pink shoes, right, I'll
Yeah.
start talking to her. So really, this is a personal decision. Do you want to stand out, or do you prefer to keep it a little bit more low key, right? So one thing I
Hmm.
will say is bold accessories, you want to be very mindful with these when you're doing business relations, or if you're doing a talk. I don't know if anybody watched the Brene Brown. It was her Netflix show. So this is going back a few years, but she did this talk and she was
Hmm.
wearing these bold statement feather earrings that were right by her face. Right. And
Hmm.
I, the whole time, am looking at these bold statement feather earrings. And she also had on a bold pendant necklace. Right. So there was a lot of statement accessories going on that I found distracting. I kept staring at both of these accessories. I was thinking about them. Right. So it drew me out of her talk. So
Yeah.
definitely be mindful of how you're choosing and wearing your bold accessories. But a
Yeah.
big important thing to pay attention into is, do I want to stand out, or would I prefer to be more low key?
Yeah. 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 That's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't even catch myself saying that. But yesterday I was on Etsy and I ordered these long, like 6-inch feather earrings. So that's funny that you talk about that. Because I felt like super called to them and I felt like that would fit in with my style. So yes, I don't want to stand out. I want it to blend. Yes, that's interesting.
I love that about the that call to my style, right? So what is it exactly that called you in? So, and this is really important for people to pay attention to, because this is what we need to pick up on these cues that call. When people are always trying to find their style, people want a signature. We need to be paying attention to what is calling us in. So I'd love to hear what
Hmm.
exactly it was from you, because I know, again, from my clients, and what I notice is it's not necessarily the texture or the color, but it's the feeling that
Yeah.
those earrings represent. And that is
Yeah.
really what we want to key into.
Yeah. Yeah, I had these feather earrings. I had two pairs of them from like long ago and I wore them recently and I just got all these compliments. And they kind of like blend into my hair a little bit. So they were, the ones I got actually are a little bit more, contrasting to my hair. So that's a little bit bolder for me. But there's something about the feather and the like tribal aspect of it that was calling me in, and the fun element and the freedom, like kind of a whimsical nature to it. And just like a little bit of extra flair. So yeah, I ordered them just to play around with how they would feel for me.
I love that so much. Wait, did you get them yet, or they're just on the
I
way?
ordered them yesterday. I can't wait.
That's, yeah. So these are things for you to pay attention to, right? Tribal, fun, freedom, nature. These are all elements that call you in. So that can become on your radar now. So when you see things that speak to you in this
Yeah.
language, because this is the language of your essence, right? And you really
Yeah.
want your accessories and your style, you really want them to be expressing your essence. So this is beautiful. And just FYI, this is a dynamic process. This is not like, oh, tribal, fun, nature, that's you. This is what you need to stay in. That's you right now. That feels really good right
Yeah.
now. But we are always shifting. We are always changing. And a lot of problems that I notice with women and their style is that they've changed, but their clothes have not. So they're still dressing from the
Yes.
past. Even though their style has moved on to tribal, fun, and nature, they're still wearing, classic, clean, and minimal, right? Because that's who they were,
Yeah.
3 years ago. Or some women, the pandemic did such a number on so many women, they never even really pulled themselves out of that. So they're still doing comfy, casual, laid back, right? When they're now like out and about at networking events, meeting people, right? So this is a big problem, is that people continue to dress from their past, right? So
Yeah.
they're not staying up to date. Your style is your way of being. It is how you move through life, right? And when you're still dressing from the past, this happens. We tend to make choices based on what we already know because we don't know what the future looks like. And so add in style where people aren't really versed or schooled or experienced, right? Nobody teaches style in school, right? So this is not an area that many people feel competent in.
Mm-hmm.
So they continue to make choices from the past because they don't know what it looks like going forward. And that's where the experimentation and the play, that's where that comes in. So I love these earrings and I definitely can't wait to see a picture of you wearing them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll send you one.
Yeah, yeah. And also, more importantly, I want to hear how you feel in them, right? Because again, it's experimentation. And here's where a lot of women get stuck also is they're afraid to experiment because they're afraid it won't work out. And no one wants to have to return or, right, whatever else comes with when things don't work out, right? It's really, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about failure. So people avoid it. But you can't grow if you're not experimenting, learning, trying. And yes, sometimes it doesn't always work out.
Yeah. So what if I was with your client and I came to you and I was like, I just need like a little freshen up in my wardrobe. I feel like everything's kind of dull or drab or it's not inspiring me and I'm not sure which direction to go. How would you start working with me?
Yeah. So the first, and this is exactly where everybody gets. And again, it's because it's a dynamic cycle. It happens all the time. Whenever we're facing a transition in our lives, whether you have kids, right? Whether you have your body change, whether you're going through menopause, whether you're getting a divorce, whether your kids are leaving home, right? Whatever, new job, whatever the transition is, that is the opportunity to reinvent yourself, right? So this is exactly what happens is they come to me saying exactly that, right? My style
Mm-hmm.
is not inspiring me. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what to wear. I feel bored, right? And this really impacts who we become. It's not a drastic thing where all of a sudden it's like we're like lying flat on the ground. It's a subtle erosion of our confidence and of our sense of self because we're not in our expression. So the first thing
Yeah.
that I do with my clients is we need to really look at, all right, well, where are you going with your life? Who do you want to be, right? So a big problem that women have is they ask themselves, what do I want to wear? What should I wear right now? And this is something we ask ourselves every day when the question is, who do I want to be? Who am I becoming? And this is what we really need to explore. We need to explore,
Mm-hmm.
who are you becoming? How do you want to feel? Right? And then let's get the clothes that align with this, right? So that's where my expertise comes in because I've styled thousands of women, right? I worked with celebrities on shoots and commercials to my private clients who are all over the world because I work virtually with my clients. And that's where my expertise comes in to really line up who you are becoming, your essence, what you love, what you're drawn to. This is what we're looking at. We create a vision for this. And then it's about just the practicalities of bringing in the right brands, the right clothes, the right colors, all those little details. We sprinkle those in once we've set the foundation of who you
Mm-hmm.
are in this next iteration. It is a beautiful moment to reinvent yourself and to really step into your full expression. And what comes when you're doing that is, more joy, more fun, more creativity, deeper relationships, right? When you're living
Mm-hmm.
in that dullness, bored, this is stagnant. This is stagnant energy and this is dragging you down, right? And we tend to take that out on the people around us. We feel frustrated, we feel impatient, we feel edgy, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
irritated. And it's because we're not in our full expression.
Yeah. This makes me think of Maria Kondo and just going through the closet and holding up a piece and it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And even those maybes, like, that's probably a no. And then looking at those pieces that light us up, we're excited to wear, that we love, um, versus, it's okay, or, well, I'll wear it sometime, even if it's beautiful and we think it's beautiful, but it doesn't like call us to wear it. I almost feel like that's a good spot to start in our closet, like donating all the maybes and all the no's. And because I feel like we only wear that 20% of our closet anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So my approach with my clients is there's definitely a closet clear out and a letting go. Huge part of the work. Oh, so many people have so many clothes that they're not wearing. Um, and the way that we do this is it's really simple. You ask the question, will I clear it or will I wear it? And if you decide that you're going to wear it, then you're going to wear it that week. It's very
Mm-hmm.
straightforward, right? It doesn't have to be so complicated. Either clear it or wear it. And if you're going to wear it next week. And this is where the fun part comes, because when you decide to wear it, that's when the creativity turns on. That's when you start experimenting. That's when you start trying new ideas. And this goes back to the closet shopping. Let's see how we can make more with what you have and then just get rid of the rest that doesn't serve anymore. So if you're going to wear it, then you start to figure out, how am I going to wear it? Right. And that's where it gets playful.
Mm-hmm.
You experiment and you try new ideas. And if it doesn't work and if it's not giving you that feeling of who you are becoming and how you want to be, then
Yeah.
okay, this doesn't work. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to let it go.
Mm-hmm. And I've done that too. I've gone through things and made an intention to wear it that week, and then I put it on, and I'm like, oh my god, this
Yeah,
has to go. This
exactly.
has to get donated. Or I wear it all day, and it's just not working, or it's uncomfortable, or yeah,
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 exactly. So it's like this is just a really straightforward approach to clearing the closet. You can just do a little bit each day until you get through all your clothes.
yeah. And then I feel like there's always this pile of like comfy home clothes. What do we do with that pile? Do we take it down to just a small amount of items? How do we handle those? I feel like everybody has a bunch of home clothes.
Yeah. So you feel better when you're wearing clothes that make you feel alive, right? That make you feel elevated. So there is a category of clothing that can be comfy and can still be beautiful and feel elevated. So you
Hmm.
can start to phase out the ones that maybe feel a little too old or too raggedy or something like that, and start to slowly bring in more elevated comfy pieces, so that when you're lying around the house or just, on one of your low key days, you still have clothes that feel a little bit more elevated. But, my comfy home clothes, I still want to feel good in what I wear. So we can elevate those.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like for me, the requirement for any clothing I have, especially shoes, is that they're comfortable. It can't be a scratchy fabric. A lot of people that have been in my wardrobe, they're like, oh, your clothes are so soft. And everything just has textures that feel really good. And if something has a scratchy label, or I put it on and the fabric doesn't feel good on my skin, I can't do it. I can't do anything that's not super comfortable.
Yeah. And so when we say comfy home clothes, beautiful fabrics is really important to you. And you
Yeah.
love putting them on, right? So they can be a beautiful fabric. So absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and comfortable shoes. Oh, well, I live in New York City. I walk miles a day. A lot of my clients, they don't live in New York City, but they do have the comfortable shoe requirement just
Hmm.
based on their circumstances. And I do think it's really important to find the right shoes. I think shoes can be a really great investment, to get the right pair of shoes that you just love wearing. They can really elevate your outfit as well.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the people that are on a super limited budget. They don't have expendable income and they are interested in elevating their wardrobe to elevate how they feel and how they present themselves in the world. Where do they go? How do they start?
Yeah, so they start with what they have and they need to look at their clothes in new ways. They have to start wearing their clothes differently. So, for example, that button up shirt that you have, maybe that's actually going to be left open and you're going to wear that over your strappy dress. And so now it serves as a jacket. So, you're going to have to start mixing up your clothes in new, fresh, and exciting ways. That is really important. And you will be surprised at how much possibility is in your closet. I have clients, they're like, we just need to get rid of everything. I don't have anything. And I was like, I hear what you're saying, but we're going to start in your closet. We're going to start with
Hmm.
what you have. Let's see what you have and let's see what we can do differently. So you
Yeah.
have to be creative, turn on your creativity, get experimental, and try new ideas.
Yeah. I mean, something fun that I've done the last 5 years is Stitch Fix. And what it has done for me is they send stuff and I put it on and it's stuff I would have never have grabbed in the store. Where I put them on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually love this. And not in a million years would I have picked it out in the store. And so that's one of the ways it's like stretched me a little bit is getting me out of my comfort zone. And literally some of my favorite pieces are from there.
Yeah, stretching your style is key. That's a key component to really elevating.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to Africa in 2 weeks and we have to wear all like beige and all those light colors. And I was looking through my closet and I had none of it. And so for the first time ever in my life, I went shopping at Goodwill because I'm like, these colors don't look good. I mean, I'm never going to get these colors again. And it was very intentional because it was like, I need light colors and beige and I need jackets in these colors and I need pants in these colors. I literally had nothing in my closet and that sorted that. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I don't know if I'll wear them again. Well, I looked at my wardrobe. I'm like, my wardrobe is black.
Yeah,
My whole
you and a
wardrobe.
million other people.
Yes. And they don't want us wearing dark blue, black, like all like the dark colors. And so I had nothing. I literally had nothing. But it was interesting stretching myself, going out of my comfort zone, actually going to Goodwill and seeing what was there and finding some really decent things. And playing around with a different color palette was really interesting. And also how when I walked in my closet realizing, I mean, I know I wear a lot of black, but the ridiculousness of the proportion of black in my closet is overwhelming. And so just that experience of having to find these pieces, needing them for the specific thing, not having any, and like looking at my wardrobe and how bland it is, super interesting, that whole process and realizing how boring my closet.
I think it's really, yeah, I think it is really interesting. You had an event that you needed to prepare for, which allowed you to really take a deep look in your closet. So the challenge is for those who don't have an event coming up, and to
Hmm.
really just go look at their closet and how do my clothes make me feel? How do I feel when I look at my closet right now? You said I just realized everything was very boring, right? So
Hmm.
it'd be an interesting experiment for someone to just go open up your closet and what is speaking to you, what is the story that your
Yeah.
closet is telling, and is that the story that you want to be telling right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I even have a neighbor across the street and she's always laughing at me because I have black on, like some piece of black every day. And every once in a while I'll have something that doesn't have any black and I'll even take a picture and send it to her. But she's reacts like, oh my gosh, Nikki, I can't believe it. You don't have black on today. And so yeah, it's like, it's a joke with her.
Yeah, and it's also, the challenge is, okay, what would it take for me to not wear black, right? It really causes you to become more creative,
Hmm.
especially if you're looking at a closet that's 90% black, right? They do say that, limitation encourages creativity, right? So when you're working with less, it really is an opportunity to tap into the creativity and see what you can create that's not black. So for
Yeah.
anyone listening, right, what is your closet? What is the story that your closet is telling? And if you want to be telling a different story, right, it's about getting creative to really express that story using what you have to start with and then deliberately bringing in other pieces. I love that you went to Goodwill, right? That's a great way to that's a low stakes way to try new ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this is inspiring me to go in my closet and get rid of all the things that don't light me up. And then also moving forward, really trying to be intentional about not getting black.
Yeah,
Because I'm so drawn
exactly.
to it. I think it's because it's easy. I think it's because it looks good on me. And I think, and even though I'm really tiny, I think it's just really forgiving. So I need to like figure out my mind limitations around this black and why I keep going towards it.
And I wonder if it also has to do with the I don't want to stand out, because what you were saying before about the accessories, when we wear black
Yeah.
tends to fade more into the background, right? So when I work
Yeah.
on shoots, on commercials, the crew, basically everybody wears black
Yeah.
because it fades into the background and all the attention is on, the main characters.
Yeah. And the outfits that I have that are like super bright, I do when I put them on, I get so many compliments. I feel really good. It feels happier and brighter. And yeah, so I need to get out of this pattern. I think we fall into these patterns. It's the same with I feel like haircuts too. I'll get some crazy haircuts and then I'll end up going back to a similar style. But you'll see people that I went to high school with and they'll have the same haircut, years and years later. And that's another place where I feel like we can experiment. And that's even harder too. Why we get stuck in
Yeah.
these patterns.
Yeah, but see, I want to just really highlight a difference here between doing the same thing that actually could be your signature
Yeah.
versus mixing things up. And this really just comes down to how you feel. So I will say, so full disclosure, there are days when I find an outfit that I freaking love. When I put it on, I'm like, this is a good outfit. I will wear that outfit the next day, maybe even the next day, right? So wearing the same outfit on repeat is not a problem. It's when I start to feel drained in that outfit. That's when the problem arises. So if
Hmm.
your haircut is still giving you energy and you still feel alive and like yourself, really, this is all we're
Yeah.
talking about, is really just expressing who you are, because as I said, we're constantly shifting and evolving. You just want to make sure that your style is keeping up, because when we have something that, there's a through line, it's a signature. Some people, tend to do the same thing, and that's what they become known for, and that still fully resonates with who they are.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this the other day with someone about with haircuts. I was saying, yeah, I tend to end up with this haircut right around here because my hair is very thick and can become very like big and overpowering. And when it's hot out, it becomes a blanket right around my neck. So I tend to keep my hair up at this length, and this is my length, right? So this could be my signature and it still feels good, right? So that's
Hmm.
really how you gauge. Do you feel tired, drained, bored? Then it's time to switch things up, right? But
Yeah.
if it still enlivens you, then stay with it.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. 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 Cause I have done some like pretty wild haircuts and I always end up coming around back to the same place because that's what feels best to me. So I love that permission to do it if it feels right and feels good. Yeah.
Yep. Permission
Yeah.
slip granted.
Yeah. But I am really inspired and envious of those that have different haircuts all the time and they do all these wild things and I'm always in awe of them. I'm not that person. But I love that for other people. They cut it short and then it's long and then they just do all these like wild things and sometimes they change the color and I'm always a little envious of that. And then when I try something a little bit wild, I kind of go back to the same thing because it feels best to me.
Maybe the way that you express that more daring energy is in just a different channel. It's just not coming out through your haircuts, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, listen, we have to be taking risk in our lives.
Yeah.
I encourage my clients to take more risk with their style because they tend to come to me very small, stuck, doing things based on their past, right? So we need to expand and stretch and grow. We need to be more daring, right? But as long as you're finding an expression and outlet of that, and maybe for you, it's, the yoga poses, right? Doing the crazy yoga poses upside down or whatever it is.
I mean, if you offered me a opportunity to go skydiving today, I would take it. So yeah, but I'm definitely like an adventure seeker in other ways. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. The clothing is just a very accessible way to play around and try this. And also I'm curious if those feather earrings, that is an example of you taking the risk and being more daring, right? Daring. So for you, it's through these accessories. It's not the hair, it's the accessories, right? For somebody else, it might be wearing really bold prints and strong colors, right? So it's about finding what is that expression for you that feels edgy. I think the word is edgy because we're really dancing around our comfort zone, just outside the comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes, edgy is the word that resonates with me the most.
Yeah. So how can you be more edgy with your style, right? So and also maybe it's not the haircut, but it's the way you style your hair. There could be some fun ways to do that.
Yeah. And I love really just how it feels. Like when you put on an outfit, how does it feel? Within a minute, like when you put an outfit on, if it lights you up, if you feel good, if you want to, go in the middle of the room and do a twirl, or if you're like, whatever. And I think that can be our greatest teacher, is that intuition of like, how does it light us up? Does it brighten us? Does it make us feel good? Or is it just like okay and average and blah? Because if it's okay and average and blah, then maybe we can move that piece out. And this is really making me want to go through my closet.
Yeah. You can do better than average and blah, right? You can do better than that. So I love listen, this is about trusting yourself. This is about tuning in to your body and asking yourself, do I feel expansive and free, or do I feel kind of closed off and trapped? And your body will give you the answer. You will feel it in your body, any sort of tension. It could be a physical sensation, like literally you can't lift your arms up because the shoulders are too tight of the garment, right? Or it could become a little bit more internal where you just feel restricted and like you can't be yourself. But always tune into the body for your answers. The body always speaks the truth.
What advice do you have for people where they feel they're holding on to something for that occasion that might come, or they are waiting to lose weight, right? So they have all these clothes, none of them fit them now. They haven't worn them in a year or two, but they're holding on to it for like when they are different than they are now.
Yeah. So the first thing I would ask is, do you even still like these pieces? So I had a client once. It was in person. I went to her apartment in New York City and we went in her closet. She had a massive closet and she had about 20 pairs of black pants. And I said, what are those? And she said, oh, those are my fat pants. She's like, I wear those when my size goes up. So I pulled them all out. They were basically the same pair of pants and there was about 20 of them. And I said, you don't need 20 of these. She kept 3. They were black pants. They were classic style. So she got rid of 17. She kept 3.
Wow. Do you like, my weight kind of stays pretty consistent and it has throughout my life, but do you find that a lot of your clients, they bounce around? Because I think that would add an element of confusion with the closet. So sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, and their weight bounces dramatically. So that's why they're holding on to those clothes.
I think that happens for a lot of women. So I am working with someone right now who has small children. So she was holding on to maternity clothes for a really long time. She didn't like wearing her maternity clothes anymore, but she kept wearing them because she didn't have anything else. And she also didn't know what else to wear. So that's why we work together. And so she was able to finally she got rid of all of those maternity pieces, right?
Yeah.
Those pieces did not make her feel good anymore. So she was able to let them go. But I understand why people hold on to clothes that don't make them feel good is because they don't have anything else and they don't know what else to wear. So that's why we get stuck. You get stuck
Mm-hmm.
wearing those old clothes, even though they're not really making you feel great.
Mm-hmm. So if we are going to hold on to something that's out of our size range in the current moment, it would be best that we absolutely love it and we're
Yeah,
inspired by
absolutely
it.
love it. Exactly. Or if it is, so if it's a classic style, like I was saying, those black work pants that my client was wearing, she
Yeah.
worked in a conservative workplace. But if you have space, then you can, hold on to a couple things as long as you still love them and you can see
Mm-hmm.
yourself wearing them again, but not too much. Let's not have a whole closet. Let's not have
Right.
20 pairs of pants because
Mm-hmm.
what I find is that when their weight changes, it's been a span of time and so their style has changed too, so those old styles don't necessarily work for where they're going, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel really good to put on those old pieces that really represent who they used to be. We want to be dressing for who we are becoming. We want to look in the mirror. We don't want to see the past and who we were. We want to see who we're becoming and where we're going. This is what lights us up. This is what's inspiring. So
Yeah.
any clothes that are reminding us of who we were and we've moved on from that era, it's time to let them go.
Mm. Yeah. What's the greatest challenge that you face with people? Like their biggest blocks and resistances when working with you and the hardest things to move past? I'm sure there's like a theme that you run into often.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just working with a woman, and she thought she could only wear certain things based on her body and based on her age. And this is ingrained because of how she was brought up. She had rules about what she was allowed
Hmm.
to wear. And so
Hmm.
we went shopping together, and immediately
Hmm.
I saw something that was going to be amazing. I held it up. I said, "You should try this on." She said, "No, that's not going to cover my hips, right? That's not
What
going to
what
work
what were
for
the
me."
rules? What were those rules that were ingrained?
The rules were that she had to cover her hips. She couldn't wear form fitting.
Ah,
So
okay.
she had to wear long and covered. And so I picked something out that was form fitting and it showed curves basically.
Yeah.
And so I said, just try it on, just take it into the fitting room. Listen, you can take it off. So she goes in, she comes out, she looks at me. I said,
Hmm.
"You look amazing." And then she looks at herself in the mirror, and I can see she's starting to change how she sees herself. And she's starting to see herself the way I was seeing her. And she says, "Oh, yeah, maybe I can wear this." And I said, "Yeah, I know you can." So
Hmm.
it's the way they're seeing themselves, and it's like a prison of how they need to look based on outdated rules, and they need to break free from that to start to see themselves for who they are becoming. And I just want to say that this woman in particular, my client, is having a real fashion moment now, right? It's like
Hmm.
she just like broke free, and now she's showing her hips, right? Her shirts are now ending at her waist as opposed to coming down to her mid thigh. Like
Hmm.
things have really changed for her, and she's feeling fabulous. And this is what is coming across when you're in her presence. She is light, she is sparkly. I told her, I'm like, "You're in your star power right now." She's like, "I
Yeah.
know," right? It's
Yeah.
because she broke free of all of those old things, all those old rules that were imprisoning her, right? So for some people, it's wearing black, right? They think they can
Hmm.
only wear black, right? And it's like all of a sudden they try bringing in something new, and they see, oh, actually this looks pretty great, and this feels energizing. I feel more vibrant, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, you slowly start to change the way you see yourself and what you're allowed to do, what you're allowed to wear.
Yeah. And probably that lady that was covering her hips, she probably looks so much smaller with her new wardrobe.
Well, that's exactly what. So then there was the practicality. I had to say to her, when you're wearing these big, huge
Hmm.
things, this is making attention on your hips. You're trying to hide your hips, but it's actually drawing attention to what you're trying to
Hmm.
hide.
Hmm. Okay, well, let's speak about that really quickly because I'm thinking about the color thing, right? If somebody doesn't want to draw attention to themselves, so their wardrobe's pretty bland, and the reason is because they're overweight and they don't want to draw attention to their body, and that's why they're wearing black. And then, how do you break free of that with
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, so this is very common. women wanting to draw attention away from their body is something
Yeah.
I see. I would say 90% of my clients are come to me like this. And then after we work together, they've completely changed the way they see themselves. So first of all, let's talk about what are we going to highlight, right? We're not just going to cover up everything. We're going to draw attention somewhere. For some women, this could be, she's like, okay, so I can show some cleavage, right? I can, bring more attention up to my face. Everybody always says my smile. So those big feather earrings are going to be amazing for those women, right? Some statement earrings next to your face, statement accessories up around your chest, opening up skin. I always think it's important to have a balanced look, right? We don't want to be all covered up. So showing some skin is one way to bring in more balance. So if you're, wearing a drapier style over your body, that's fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to show their waist. Although I will say that if you are somebody who never shows your waist, I would encourage you to just try it once at home by yourself, because you will be surprised. Like, women come to me, they're so used to hiding and covering up. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to tuck that in. And they're like, oh, talking about their shirt. They're like, tuck it in. I'm just like, put on your seatbelt. We're tucking that in, right? And then, of course, you can always untuck it if you hate it. But they're always surprised about how much better they look when they show their shape, right? But so the important thing here is you really want to focus on what are we going to highlight. And so highlighting the waist is something that I definitely encourage every woman to experiment with. But then if you really don't want to do that, that's okay. What are you going to highlight, right? Is it going to be your legs? Are you going to show some skin on your legs? Are you going to, go sleeveless and show skin on your arms? Are you going to open up your chest area? Are you going to wear statement earrings, bold colors near your face to really highlight your smile? You got to find what you're going to highlight, because we just can't have more women covering up and hiding themselves.
Yeah. I like that concept of, I'm thinking of somebody with like a long dress that's almost down to the ground. And then even if it's black and kind of boring, but then they have this statement piece of jewelry that draws that attention up. And so, I love that.
It can be beautiful.
Image.
It can be beautiful. Or something in the hair, right? I mean, a beautiful scarf in the hair could be really beautiful. A lot of women wear glasses. Your glasses are something you put on your face probably every day, multiple times a day, however you wear your glasses. I encourage you to invest in getting glasses that make you feel amazing. So do you want to feel like a queen? Do you want to feel like a superstar? How do you want to feel? Your glasses should be making you feel that way. So really find some beautiful glasses that can really highlight your face.
Yeah. It's hard. I had to get some glasses, and I spent hours in the store just trying to find the right look that I was going for. it's not easy.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Yeah. Is there any other advice that you feel like would be important to share with people? I love this conversation.
I love this conversation too. I think the most important thing that I want people to take away is that remembering that your style is your way of being, and that if you're not happy in your clothes, it's because you're evolving and your clothes are still representing the old you. So the easiest way to get yourself up to date is to just change your clothes. Do something different. Change up how you've been dressing and what you've been wearing. That is the starting place. And, I have on my site, I have a free quiz that is a beautiful place to start. It is a free quiz to find your it factor and tap into your signature. And this is going to give you some really great ideas on how to express your style that feels in full alignment with you. So definitely, think about your style and remember that this is a dynamic process. We are constantly shifting and evolving. So it's very normal. It's very natural for things to need to fade away, and then to very deliberately bring in new pieces that really make you feel alive, brighter, lighter, more energized, more vibrant, more dynamic.
Yeah. And I love also the concept of, this is my theme of the podcast, is kind of pushing ourselves into places that are uncomfortable. And maybe that is, you have an all black wardrobe, and then you get this bright red shirt and you put it on and you wear it the whole day, and you see how it makes you feel, and you see how you're received by others, and kind of push through that discomfort, and just as a baby step to see how it feels.
That's exactly right. Just so what happens once you change your clothes and you start dressing differently? with that red sweater, let's say that red top, you will start showing up differently. And then as you start showing up differently, people are going to receive you differently. They're going to see you differently, right? And then because they're now seeing you differently, you're going to start to see yourself differently. And when you start to elevate your self-image in this way, this is really tapping into your intrinsic self-worth. And then you start to express that. So it is really beautiful. So it all starts by changing your clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. You've definitely inspired me. Like I want to go through my closet now and just throw out half of it. Thank you so much. How do people reach you? I would love for you to share your offerings and how people can connect with you and find you.
Yeah, so the best place to reach me is on my website, ElyshaLenkin.com, ElyshaLenkin.com. So ElyshaLenkin.com. So I have that quiz right there on the homepage. Find your it factor. Definitely take that quiz. And once you take that quiz, then come find me on Instagram. It's Elysha_NYC, and tell me what you got as your result for the quiz, because you can actually, there's a few archetypes that you can get. So I love to hear what you got on your quiz. And also on Instagram, I'm making lots of really fun and informative videos on how to use your personal style to really support your personal evolution so that you can draw out and retrieve more personal power. So Instagram, Elysha_NYC, and definitely my website, and take the quiz.
Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely doing that today. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This is fun. I love this conversation. I love that it's light. I love how inspiring it is. And I really am drawn to your energy. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. Have a great, beautiful day.
Thank you for listening to the Connected Community Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. I can be found at www.nickyyoga.com, NICKYYYOGA.com. Until I see you again next week, I hope you have a beautiful day.